It's Dr. Ruben West. Welcome to Voices of Change, where we find voices from around the world that are determined and committed to making change. And guess what? Today we have another one for you. Today, my guest is definitely committed to making change. My guest today is none other than Dr. Clyde Rivers. Some call him Sir Clyde Rivers. You've heard him called Ambassador Clyde Rivers. I mean, there's so many things that he's called. But one of the things I love is that no matter what he's called by, no matter how many titles, no matter how many awards he's received, he still operates in humility. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. Today, we're going to be talking about world leadership. Today, I'm going to be asking him questions about how he's made transitions around the world, speaking with world leaders, sitting at the tables with policymakers, how he's done that. And watch this. How can you be effective at bringing something forward that can help change the world? Now, listen, there's a lot of people that need to hear this interview. I say this all the time. And so I'm going to ask you right now, invite somebody to this interview. Invite somebody to this interview. Get your pen out, get your paper out, your notepad, your iPad. Make sure you post in the feed, because watch this. Your big takeaway can be someone else's big breakthrough. I'm about to bring Dr. Rivers on in just about 5 or 10 seconds, but all I want to do is give you a chance to share this video, because this is going to be a powerful interview. So I'm bringing to the stage right now, Dr. Clyde Rivers. How's it going, Doc?
Dr. West is fantastic. Thank you, man.
Hey, I appreciate you being here. We've had the people, they've been excited. They've already talking about listening to you. Roland's already saying it's going to be great. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and be a part of this interview. We're going to get right into it, because there's a lot of things that I want to ask you. But here's what I want to tell the people listening. If you have a question for Dr. Rivers, I'm going to give you a time about the second half of the show to post it in the feed. So be ready to post it in the feed. We got Greg Dillon watching from Indiana. What's going on, Greg? And Dee Bowden, wow. She said this is going to be fabulous. Yes, it will be. I agree. Dr. Rivers, listen, like, you're in the mix right now. Here you are, World Civility Ambassador. You're the spokesperson for World Civility, not just a World Civility Ambassador. You appoint other ambassadors. You're the founder of iChange Nations. You've become the global chairperson for OPAD. I mean, all of these different things. And one of the things I want to just get right to with the people listening is you talk a lot on your videos about faith. And so I just want to know from you, like, what role has faith played in your life, and what role does faith continue to play in your life?
Man, Doc, that I couldn't do it without my faith, because let me tell you what it is, Doc. All of our lives are tailor-made by God.
Yes. And
God has a tailor-made design for us, and it only is created by faith. People, when you step into your God-given design, there's a path laid out that's more than you can ask or imagine. And then God literally takes the ability, and when you understand that it's not you and it's him, he empowers you more to do what you have to do. So faith, I could not do it without my faith.
And so, because you've done some pretty amazing things coming from where you came from. I mean, you really have. For those people who don't know, I mean, here's a gentleman that when he was younger, he was considered special education, that he was going to be in a special class. Now, watch this. It's so funny. When they said special, they meant reduced. But when God said special, he meant increased. So he was right to be put in special education, because they had no idea what he was going to be doing around the world. And so, Doc, you talked about the fact that you were faithful over the little with your church in California, and then you made a transition. Tell us about that transition.
You know what it is see, Dr. West, people don't understand that the word of God says when you're faithful over little, the next season is ruler. Ruler. So
right.
so see, when you're faithful over little, you become ruler over much. And I pastored for all those years, small congregation, and that was my stewardship. And Doc, when there's see, people don't understand that you can't have rulership without stewardship. So stewardship leads to rulership.
Come on now.
And then I became the honorary ambassador for the country of Burundi, and I went from about 20 people to 10 million people, being an overseer for 10 million people of a country.
Now wait a minute. So you went from 20 people in your church that you faithfully tended to for years, and then you became the honorary ambassador to a country that was not your own.
The president said, I'm the only one in the world that has ever been an honorary ambassador at large for a country that's not my own in the world. The president, they set a new precedence for the world.
And now this is great. I hope you guys are listening to this, because he's talking about what faith can do. Dr. Rivers, when he decided to make you the honorary ambassador, that gave you the ability to speak on behalf of that country anywhere in the world, because usually they make you an ambassador over a certain area, but he made you an ambassador at large, which meant that you could go travel the world, speak about this country, a diplomatic passport that made you unarrestable anywhere in the world. But my question for you is, what was the qualification that he saw in you to make you the honorary ambassador? Was it your degree? Was it the PhD? Tell the people, because I've heard you say it before. I need them to hear. What was it he said to you?
He said, a pure heart can see far, a clean heart. He said, Dr. Rivers, you have no agenda. Your heart is pure, and you will look. And when you have a pure heart, you can see far.
Wow. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you this because I really want you to understand that a lot of times people who are at the top of the world, who you see networking with world leaders, being brought in to give talks and things like that, they won't talk about their faith. That's something that they shy away from. But one of the things I love about Dr. Rivers is he's not afraid to talk about his faith. He's not afraid to talk about how he got to where he is. Now, Dr. Rivers, just a few days ago, you spoke to the African Union, correct?
Yes.
So do me a favor. First of all, tell us how that came about, like why you, how did they reach out to you, number one. And then number two, I want you to also tell us, what did you say to them? And I'm going to bring you full screen for this because I'm excited. Go ahead.
Yeah, what happened, I'm sitting in my office, I get an African number, and this one guy says, are you Dr. Rivers? I said, yes. He said, we have in that prayer meeting at the African Union, we're talking about how to build life after COVID. He says, many are afraid. They don't know what to do. And he says, we would love to have you come in and speak to the African Union. And that was on a Wednesday, and I was speaking that Thursday.
What, Doc, one day, and what was your message? Like when you spoke to them, what was your message?
My message to them was, you have too much data and not enough innovation. And I said, after this pandemic, there is no data, because this world has never started after a pandemic anywhere in the world. This world has never, the whole world's never been shut down at one time. So no one's bringing an actual bread truck to help you. So you have to encourage the innovation, because there is no data to tell you how to restart the world. So you have to have a people with innovation that will build your country. So see this, Dr. West, I tell people, there's a data deception. And let me tell you what the data deception is. I've had people tell me data's king. Well, data's good in peacetime. Data's not good in a crisis. What happens in a crisis when the world changes? Where does your data go?
Right.
Your data, there is no data based on the coronavirus or the whole world shutdown. So now I tell people Jesus is king and Lord and has the answers when your data deficit fails.
Now, Doc, see, this is why I got to get into this, because most of the time with people at that level, you're speaking to the African Union, and then it's no secret that there's some countries over there that are Muslim-based countries. They have a lot of people there are Muslim faith or Hindu faith, but you literally speak about your faith, and that seems so taboo. What makes you comfortable doing that in the midst of these situations?
Because, Doc, what I did when I started working interfaith peace, I acknowledge every faith. Man, I'm interfaith peace guy.
Yeah.
So I'm about peace. So I encourage them, share your faith.
Right.
I'm sharing my faith. And what happens is these people know I love them.
Yeah.
I work with every religion. I work and I love them, and I share my faith, and then God shows up. And you know what, Doc? I used to be afraid of sharing my faith. After the pandemic, I will never bow again because what they told me worked, crashed. And guess who lifted me up? My God.
Come on.
Everywhere I go, he's first.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere. I will tell it everywhere I go. Last country I was in, Sudan, just came out of Sharia law, just came out of it.
Yeah.
And I was sharing my faith with my Muslim friends. And they ask me how I get here, and I tell them, God did this. God. So people, please don't deny the name of Jesus because you're afraid it will offend someone. If it will offend someone, never see, Doc, I'm gonna go for a second. I'll be brief on this.
No, go ahead.
We've been taught to bring our God as second place. He's not good enough for the front room. He's got to come in the back door, and you got to try to bring people in. And no, because what that's created in our country is created a non-essential God. How can you have a non-essential God during a pandemic? They tell the church, stay home. You're non-essential. This is why, Doc, right now I'm pushing justice now. You want to know why? Because as it rains, Doc, I need to be in there as a voice. I can't be home when it's comfortable when there's a fire burning. We got the hose, Doc.
Yeah. Y'all, you guys hear that? Somebody put in the feed, we got the hose, right? There's a fire burning and we got the hose. And here's the thing. What good does it do if you have it if you're not willing to use it? And what I love about Dr. Rivers is when you put him out there, he's always going to use it. He is that voice. So Doc, you know, when I mentioned you coming in, I talked about you focusing on your iChange nations. You founded that. I mean, you've pushed that all over the world. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I talked about you being the global chairperson for OPAD. I talked about you being the spokesperson for World Civility Day. These are just a few, just a few things. But you're so multifaceted. What I want to know is your focus. Right now, we're in a global pandemic. Right now, we have these riots breaking out, and we have these things with racial tension and things like that. But what I want to know for the people that are listening, what is your focus right now? What is Dr. Rivers focusing on right now?
Right now, my focus is I started a movement called I Have a Solution. I have a solution. Our solution is civility for all. Now watch this, Doc. As I explain to the people in the world what's going on, I tell them this. One individual got sick. One individual in China got sick. Shut the whole world down. Yes. What's God saying? One African American man, Mr. Floyd, was murdered. The whole world is up in arms about it. What is God saying? He's saying, you better get back to the day to where you value one. You can no longer have medicine for my sick people and you withhold it from them that need it. You can no longer withhold justice from me, because when you persecuted George Floyd and killed him, you were persecuting me. When you denied people health, you were misusing my innovation. You were misusing my ability to create medicine to heal the sick. You were holding their their answer captive. So I'm
Mm,
just going to break your system to where you understand that I'm God.
come
And
on.
that's what I'm telling leaders. You're not in control, leaders. God is.
Come on. You guys see how passionate he is about this? Doc, I'm going to throw this photo up. And right here, it says, I have a solution. That's you in the middle. You're surrounded by a bunch of amazing, amazing individuals. And tell the listeners, tell them how you're bringing solutions to leadership.
Let me tell you what I'm doing. It's a real simple principle. James 2:8 talks about the royal law.
Mm-hmm.
The royal law is the golden rule. And this is what it says. It says, as you love your neighbor as yourself, you live under liberty. It also says, if you mistreat people, you live under transgression. So what is taking place? Every nation that's ever mistreated God's creation is living in transgression now.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I tell people it's a biblical infraction, not a political one. You can't vote this one out. You got to deal with a God that's coming and saying, let my people go. So I'm on the forefront of telling people, look, you better pray, you repent. And that's the only time, Doc, we were talking about this a couple days ago, you gave me a great insight. It's almost like people looking for actually change. It's almost like in your vehicle, and you're driving and you GPS the coordinates in and you made a wrong turn. What does it do, Doctor? This is what you said. You said, Dr. Rivers,
Redirect.
it actually recalculates,
Yep.
but it brings you back to the same place. Let me give you the answer. Repentance is the only thing that'll get you off the track.
Come on.
And it's the only thing where God can interrupt with mercy when there's a repentant heart. So I tell people, you better pray we get civility to all, and you better pray the heart work is done, or you will face the wrath of what you sowed. Mercy comes when you repent and turn around.
Whew. Listen, if you're listening right now, I told you that you should share this video. I told you that you should invite someone to this video. You're not doing it for me, and you're not doing it for Dr. Rivers. You're doing it for someone who needs to hear this information. There's a lot of information being put in the feed right now. And remember, your big takeaway could be someone else's big breakthrough. So make sure you invite, someone who needs to hear this, invite them here. Someone who needs to listen, share it on your page right now, because Dr. Rivers, as you can see, is really pulling forth and dropping some serious wisdom right now. Now, Doc, you said that we have to repent. We have to come together. We really have to look for ways to be a solution for each other. And I saw a video where you were speaking, and I can't remember exactly where the video was, but you were speaking and you were talking about, you had recently in the video talked to your African friend who was a king, and he was talking about the wealth that he had, but he was also talking about having to travel with security. Do you remember that video?
Oh man, Doc. Man, no, Doc. I'm sorry.
No, let me tell you what you were saying. You, because I just watched it, and you were saying that you talked to a friend of yours, an African king. He was very wealthy, and you were talking to him, and he said that whenever he traveled, he had to travel with 10 security guards because he was so wealthy, but the people of his country, a lot of them were very poor.
Yeah.
And so he had to travel with these security guards. When his kids go to school, they always had to have security guard, like no matter where they went. And you were kind of telling them, like, well, how does this make sense for you? Because it's not a matter of wealth. It's a matter of how you treat the people who you are responsible for. Elaborate on us for that, on that, please.
Yeah. You know, Doc, people don't understand the unintended consequence of injustice.
Mm.
When injustice, institutional racism, and in Africa, institutional tribalism. Same thing. When you institutionalize injustice, guess what you have to eat? You have to fear, because the minute you slip, someone is going to bust through and take it. Because you've created a famine. Hear this. Never create a famine in your own house.
Oh, right.
When you create a famine in your own house and you're the only one with food, man, they'll come to your house to eat, whether you like it or not.
Right. Whether you like it or not.
They're coming because it's the food, it's the meat. And Doc, leaders around the world should not create scarcity mentality when God has abundance in these countries. Right now in America, we are facing scarcity created abundance here.
Come on, Doc. Scarcely created, but abundance here. No, Doc, I got to ask you about this. I want to put up this picture and you tell me what was going on in this picture. And the reason I put it up is because most people don't know your diversity. I mean, what I love about you is, I've gotten a chance to travel to 4 different countries with you so far. You're walking in, you're meeting with the leaders, but you're not afraid to just go to the little people or what people would conceive as the little people. Tell us about this photo here.
This actual man in the middle, he's a Burundian drummer leader, and just a great man. You know, Doc, let me tell you this here. Everybody God made is just as valuable. There's not one person of greater value to God than everyone. So my job is not to make people feel less than.
Yes.
Because no one's less than in God.
Not at all.
And so my job around the world, man, I take my assignment serious.
Yes.
If it wasn't for God's grace, Dr. West, we could be those people.
All right.
Listen, everybody watching, all that separates us from them is Him.
Come on. All that separates us from them is Him. Come on, Dr. Rivers, that's powerful. And it's very powerful for people to understand that. One of the things I love is that you talked about the fact that when it comes to individuals on different sides of any coin, they all have their own opinion. They all have their own ideas. And you also talked about the fact that they all have their own history. And you wrote this book, When History Collides. And it's a profound book. I already had it. The minute I got it, I started reading it, and I didn't put it down until I was done. Tell the listeners the theory behind When History Collides, please.
This is what is taking place in America with this institutional racism and our struggles right now. It's everyone's history is their reality. So if someone hasn't walked in my shoes or understand my history, they will never understand me. And if I haven't walked in their shoes, I don't understand them. I have friends right now that I'm talking to that don't understand what it's like to live Black in this country. They're saying, Dr. Rivers, man, can this end? I said, man, well, we lived through this for our whole life, man. I'm 56 years old. I did this every day. So you want to end it in 2 weeks? I agree. So they have no understanding because their experiences, which they couldn't control, was there. So we're having historical collisions and we're calling each other liars. You can't. Their truth is their truth, and my truth is my truth.
Right.
So now we have to listen to each other for change, because now they go, Doc, I didn't know that. I didn't know that when African Americans speak with their kids, they have to tell them when law enforcement stops them how to act. We've never had to do that. Wow. Are you serious, Dr. Rivers? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Dr. Rivers, why are people looting? Why don't they just protest peacefully? Well, I don't agree with actually looting or any violence. You can't not protect people and then monitor how they you haven't protected them and you want to monitor how they act? They're saying, wait, okay, well, I trusted you to protect me.
Yes. Yeah.
So now you're going to tell me how to protest? Wait, first of all, protect me. And again, I don't agree with violence or looting. I don't agree with, but no one's going to tell this generation what to do when you haven't protected me.
That's so good. I told you guys this was going to be a powerful interview, and let me tell you what I got, Dr. Rivers. That a lot of people want power through control, right? And so they want to have power by controlling the people. But what I found is that they can have control if they empower the people. Right? Instead of trying to have power by controlling the people, gain control by empowering the people. Because if you empower them to do for themselves, to help themselves, to make money, to earn things, then you don't have to worry about control. They'll give it to you because you've empowered them. I mean, that's just something I believe. I really feel this. We have a question from Donald Tolson, and Donald said, God values everyone the same. But his question is, how do you value God?
He is. Think about God. God is our source for everything. So I can do nothing without my source that's going to live. He gives me the power to have faith. He gives me the mind, the thoughts to move in. He gives me. I can't live without my source.
Yes.
And what he's doing now, Dr. West, he's pulling man-made sources and saying, people, I'm the source.
Come on. Yeah, that's good. Listen, one thing I know about you, like I just said, and if you guys were listening, you heard me say I've gotten a chance to travel to 4 different countries with Dr. Rivers, and it's amazing to see him in action. As a matter of fact, I've told this story over and over and over again. He didn't even know it because I've never told it to him. He was there. But when we landed in Nairobi, Kenya, and we got to the Trademark Hotel, and Dr. Rivers gets out of the car, and he goes and walks up to the hotel. Everybody knew who Dr. Rivers. I mean, they're like, oh my God. I mean, like, you would have thought he was a celebrity. And so like, can I get your bag and can I get your coat? And we got you. And he's here. Hey, he's here. It's Dr. Rivers. And everybody from people behind the counter to the people going to security, for the people taking bags. The next day we went to breakfast. All of the staff in the restaurant knew Dr. Rivers. Oh, Dr. Rivers. Oh, everybody came over. And let me show you why this was so significant. Let me show you. Because it wasn't who he was. It was what he does. Oh, somebody's got to get this. It wasn't who he was. It was what he does. And you know what he does? He empowers everybody. He speaks to everybody. Oh, my friend. Oh, my goodness. So good to see you. How you doing? Like every day, every time, every meal. Like literally when they saw him coming, he had a word for them. He could remember the people's names. I mean, he just, like literally when they saw him, it wasn't who he was. It was what he does that made them just immediately gravitate to him and literally love on him. And Dr. Rivers, what I want to know is, you go from meeting with the presidents and meeting with the kings and meeting with the vice presidents and all the lawmakers and all the rule makers, but you take the time for every single person. Where did you get that heart? How did that come about?
You know, Doc, I understand protocols and I understand God. I'm going to always honor every place I go, but God honors people. God honors his creation. And you know what? Again, if we can give someone a word to help encourage them, that's what life is about. And you know what, man? You don't know how far hope goes.
Yes.
Hope, when you give somebody hope, hope goes far. And people, because of the influence that God has graciously given me, if I can encourage someone else, man, that's what life's about.
Indeed. And what I love is that you live that. And now watch this. I talked about the Trademark Hotel in Nairobi, Kenya, but I could say the same thing about the Hotel Club de Lac in Burundi, I could say the same thing about the hotel when we were in Guyana. I could say the same thing when we were in Uganda. I mean, he does the same thing everywhere he goes. He's literally consistent like that. Now, here's the next thing I want to ask you, Doc. When you go, you usually have a team of people that you're literally opening doors for. You're literally positioning. I've never, ever, ever, ever. Matter of fact, I've said this. If you know me, you've heard me speak. And if you heard me talk about him, you've probably heard me say this. But Dr. Rivers said, hey, Dr. West, God told me to help elevate you to the highest levels of the world and not get in your way, even if you pass me up. Now somebody's got to hear what I just said. And it's not that he said it. He's literally doing it. He invited me to Guyana, where we met the vice president. We had all these people with us. We got a chance to sit down with the vice president to give him our books. And then he got a chance to connect me to go back and spend several days with the vice president, taking a trip to his homeland, the Rupanuni, showing me the forest, all these different things. Like, he's literally doing it. He got a chance to sit me down with the president in Burundi and got a chance to talk with him and speak with him, and all of these different things. But my question for you is, Dr. Rivers, how did you get that heart? I mean, you literally have made it your mission to elevate other people and put them in a position to make change, where most people, watch this, most people don't mind if you get ahead, watch this, as long as you don't get ahead of them. You see what I'm saying? But you said, look, even if you pass me up, I'm good with it. This is my assignment. How did that come about? Where did you get that attitude?
You know, Doc, I realized that I have a vision to really change the whole world. And I know I can't do it alone. And it's my time to pass the baton. It's my time to pass the baton. It's my job to put people in places like Dr. West. I've never heard anyone in the world with the brilliance you have in speaking. And no, speaking, that's an understatement, people. Dr. West, you connect words to move people's heart to be better. You're not motivational speaker. Throw that title out for you. That's not who you are. You are a verbal connector of the hearts of people that move them into greatness. And everywhere you go, I can, and you know what, people, let me just, Dr. West, the actual leader he is, when he's with me, he'll take my backs.
Always.
I mean, this man doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do that. He has his own, and he understands protocol and respect, and he does it. And hear this, black belt speakers, they are some of the only people that I can take around the world and go to sleep in my room and know after meeting with a leader, it's going to be okay. It's going to be good, because they are trained. They are trained by they are trained. They understand protocol. They understand system. They understand punctuality. Black belt speakers, I can't say enough about you guys.
Well, I appreciate it, Doc. And that's why I was so thankful to even connect with you. And literally, when I connected with you, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. I saw you speaking, but you were honoring some people there. And it was through iChange Nations. I have my iChange Nations pin on, my golden rule pin, right? But this iChange Nations is a culture of honor that you've pushed around the world. Tell me how you came up with the idea for iChange Nations.
You know what? I was in Africa and I saw all these great people and no one knew their name. If they were in other places of the world, everybody would know them.
Yes.
And the Holy Spirit said, there's no culture of honor. There's a culture of dishonor. And he said, create a culture of honor and show my people what they can thrive, what they can become if they understand honor. So I started the honor ICN 6 years ago. We're in 125 countries now.
And when you started it, what did people say? I mean, like, what is this? Like, what did they say? Because see, we a lot of people talk about faith, but it's different when you live faith. So here you are starting iChange Nations. It's never been heard of, and then you're saying a title like iChange Nations, and people have to be looking at you like, Who again? Like, what do you mean you change nations? How do you do that? Tell me about that.
As a matter of fact, Doc, I was in a meeting with the City Council of Los Angeles, and Dr. Tiggerino, my dear friend, introduced me, and he said, "This guy has iChange nations." And this one senator guy said, "Young man, you are delusional." Told me
Oh,
that.
I love it.
Told me you are delusional. Hear this. I came back 5 years later, and Dr. Tiggerino talked about all the countries I had visited and showed a banner of all the presidents. And I saw the guy, went and shook his hand, and I said, "I changed nations, sir." Because Doc, every eye can change a nation.
Yes, that's so good. That's so good. And so your goal was to push the culture of honor around the world.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and you've done that. What has that been like actually seeing it manifest? Because it's one thing I know for me, there's a lot of things I wanted to do. And then it came about different after I did it. I look at it like this: water before a marathon is not the same as water after a marathon. Right? It's the same water, but it's the journey that makes a difference. And so now, as you look back over the fact that you said this, you started by faith, you started walking it out. How has this changed your life, your perspective? Like, what did it mean to you to actually be able to do it?
You know, Doc, what it showed me is God's word is a stronghold, not just the devil.
Right.
When God gives you a word, it's a stronghold, and the righteous run in, and they are saved. What happened was when I started honoring Dr. Tiggerino. God, man, my story is so. I go to Africa the first time. God tells me bring education to Africa. So I come back home, and in the airport I meet a man named Dr. Tiggerino, and and a friend of mine brings me to meet the guy, and he says, "Would you lead my university in Africa?" He says, "I'm giving you 10 honorary doctorates to give to 10 people that are doing well, ministers, pastors." I went for 10 presidents and got 8 of them.
Hey,
Watch
get a
this.
vision.
Watch this. Let me tell you what I've learned. Nobody in the world feels worthy. Nobody. I remember I was honoring the former president of Ethiopia, Germa World Gorgas. He said, "Are you sure I'm worthy?" I said, "Yes, Mr. President. You have created an environmental program to help your country."
Yeah.
He goes, So what I've learned is the enemy doesn't let anybody think they're good enough.
Yeah, come on. He gets in their head, doesn't he, Doc?
And the presidents of countries have said, "Why do you want to honor me?" I said, "Because your own country dishonored you." They didn't understand you were a 10-year-old democracy. They were comparing you to a 200-year-old one. So, sir, I see the good that you're doing here. And I'm going to magnify the good so that somebody can say something good came out of Africa.
Come on, y'all. Doc, I'm going to put this post up. You guys look at this post. I mean, from an idea, from a concept. And look, I even slipped me on the picture there. You know what I'm saying? But from an idea, and now look at these people from around the world that he has been able to honor from all different backgrounds, males and females, kings, queens, first ladies, presidents, you name it, prime ministers. I mean, he's literally taken this from an idea and walked it out. Watch this. And this is why I wanted to bring this out through faith. That's why I started with having him tell us what role faith plays in his life. Because if you look at that poster, that came from an idea. And so, Doc, what would you say to the person listening right now who believes they have an idea from God, but they don't know how to do it? They don't know what steps to take. What would you tell them?
Stop looking for money. Stop looking for money and look for the next step.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Let me explain why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Because God became bigger than money in my life. And now nobody can manipulate me with money because God is bigger. God is bigger. God is bigger. Our campus in Kampala, Uganda, given to me free. Our business school in Nigeria, business school, Dr. Rivers Skills Acquisitions Institute, free.
Come on.
Green light, yes, thank you. That they're building that in my name. Free for business acquisitions. Greenlight University in Zambia wants to give me a space there. And guess what, Doc? It costs me nothing because God's will, God's bill. I don't sit around and budget this stuff. God, when you begin to work with God, see, people look for money. God looks for faith. He says, without faith, it's impossible to please God, not without money. Money will follow your ideas, your innovation when you're walking with Almighty God. That's the truth. People look for money. I look for the next God step.
Money follows faith, not the other way around.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So many people believe once they get the check, but can you believe without the check?
Come on. And then, Doc, what's my ROI? The next step. What's my return on investment? What? First of all, you have nothing that anybody will want because you have emotion, but you don't have any initiative substance. Ooh. You don't have something that can go to the policy room. You don't have something that can change the whole system. You have a good inspirational idea that's going to empower people for 10 minutes, but you don't have a movement that's going to live forever.
Ooh, I told you guys. Now, Doc, this is so hot. I told you, and I love it because I deliver on this show. This is Voices of Change, and you can clearly see that Ambassador Dr. Clyde Rivers is a voice of change. Doc, I got a few more things. I got to put these pictures up because God has done some amazing things in your life because you were willing to take the step. God has done some amazing things in your life because you wasn't chasing the money, you were following your faith. And so I want you to just explain some of these things because keep in mind that I said this is Clyde Rivers, who started off in special education. Now, they had it wrong. They thought special because he wasn't smart enough, and God put him in special because he was way above their heads. But God, Doc, tell us about this. What did this mean to you?
Last year, I honored the actual Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. I made him a World Civility Leader. And he turned around and nominated me for the Nelson Mandela Award from South Africa Embassy in his country. And I was a recipient of the Nelson Mandela Award from Sri Lanka and India.
Like, are you guys getting what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, he wasn't trying to get, he was giving. And one thing we know is you can't beat God giving. You cannot beat God giving. And that's what I love about you, Dr. Rivers, is you focus on giving. I got another photo I want to put up. Tell us about this because I've heard it, but I need them to hear it because God has done some amazing things in your life because you've been obedient. Tell them about this, Doc.
Oh, I go to Guatemala on a trip. I'm working with 110 congressmen about world civility. A friend of mine called me and says, Dr. Rivers, go and see my friend. Who's your friend? He said, Eduardo. He said, on Capitol Hill, you actually met him. And on Capitol Hill, he says, he wants to meet you because it was your big event that had 50 nations there. And when he came in, you turned and you left everyone and you talked to him and you gave him a pen. He said, Dr. Rivers, go and meet Eduardo. I didn't know that's Lord Eduardo Prada of the Spanish monarchy, Kingdom of Guatemala, La Antigua. I went to meet the guy for 2 hours and he knighted me. I was made Sir Don Clyde Rivers. And he said, it's because I know your heart was genuine. You left everybody else and came to me. And he says, I'm giving you a seat with the king at the round table. Come on. Don Sir Clyde Rivers.
Like, hopefully you guys are getting this. I don't know what else I could tell you to get you to understand the power that faith has in his life and the power that faith should have in your life. I'm just putting this out there because I really want you guys to see. Now, Doc, there's a lot of people that I've brought to you and I said, hey, Doc, they have a message and they really want to do good around the world. But one of the things that you've been effective in helping me see, and a lot of us see, is that there's a difference between a message and an initiative.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Explain that because we're talking about leadership around the world. We're talking about making a difference around the world. Explain that concept because you did it so well for us. Explain that, please.
Thank you, Doc. Doc, let me tell you what I see. I see, just be candid, a bunch of number twos that are jumping for this guy can help you, this guy can help me, he'll do this for me. And I asked them one question: where have they gotten you? Where are you at now? What they need, Dr. West, is at the top of the world, they don't want a jack of all trades. They want a master of one. And here it is. The actual language that moves the world is initiatives. Like right now, I'll be meeting with 5 different police chiefs coming up here in the next couple of months. And Doc, I'm having you come with me. And we're talking about reform. And though that kind of reform will be initiatives. Why? Policy here's initiatives. Initiatives grow. Initiative, when you own an initiative, this is what people miss. They always say, doctors, how much is it? What's my ROI? You can't pay what I'm worth.
Hey, come on, Doc.
You can't pay what I'm worth. And here there's people, I only take so many a year. So you see me advertise on my wall, initiative training? No. You got to come through certain friends of mine. You got to come through certain friends of mine. I don't have time for 1,000 looky-loos. Give me the number ones. Give me the number ones, and we'll put them at the top of the world. Dr. West, voice of change. Dr. West, his voice of change. Vice President Sidney Allicock has received this award. Yeah. First Lady of Burundi has received his award. King of Toro has received his award. Dr. West, voice of change, is becoming legendary. And I got some other people, Doc, that hear this, that have qualified to carry the Reuben West Award. I qualified them to carry it.
Come on, you guys. Like, hopefully you guys are seeing this because this is real. The reason I had to have Dr. Rivers on this show is because he's literally one of the movers and shakers that we would really never get a chance to speak with. I mean, he's talking about, he said, you really couldn't afford it. We really couldn't. One of the things I realized is that people pay for the wrong thing. Listen to this, Doc. People pay for the wrong thing. There's nothing wrong with paying for education, but they're trying to pay for elevation, and only God can do that. Right? And so they let all of these people convince them, if you pay me, I can get you here and I'll get you there. And like, this is what's so powerful, is that there's nothing wrong with paying for education. You have to learn, but elevation, don't pay them for elevation, pay them to learn and then be faithful over that, and God will help elevate you. But it's not going to come from the fact that you paid this money. And so most people want the transformation to come from a transaction. They want to pay you some money.
Wow.
And then it changes my life. No, you got to change your own life by who you're becoming, and not because you paid a transaction. I know this is your interview, but I get hyped, Doc. I get hyped because
go ahead, Doc.
You're like one of the people who are actually out here doing it. And you're actually out here sharing a message. And so one of the things you just said is that they're never looking for number 2. They're only looking for number 1. And what you're saying is, it's not about having a message. It's about having an initiative that becomes your life work. Is that correct?
Yeah. Doc, got a gentleman asked me last week. He says, what is your job? I said, I don't have one. He says, who do you work for? I said, me. He said, what is your job? I said, I have a mission, sir, not a job. I have a mission, not a job.
Yeah.
I have a mission.
Yeah. I've got to share this wisdom, because sometimes it just comes to you, and sometimes you're hit with it. When I started working with Dr. Rivers, I just cared. And so I went to him and I said, Doc, I'm doing this work for you, and it's good stuff. And, I care. I do. I care. And I said, and I was looking at your website, and it looks like your website can use an updating. And I said, because, this is not there and this is not there and blah, blah, blah. And if you look at my website, and he said, y'all listen to this, he said, how many presidents are calling you? It was so funny, but it was so true. And he said, listen, Ruben, I don't worry about that, because listen, God does the elevating. Are y'all catching this? Because so many people can get you to pay for all of this fancy stuff, but if God doesn't open the door, you go nowhere. What is it that gives you that faith, Dr. Rivers?
You know what it is, Doc? Is God told me when I first started, he says, let me be your marketer. He said, let me be your marketer. They're going to come to market you. Let me. I can tell you, people, God has marketed me.
Yes.
God. And you know what? Let me tell you this. People, please, if you hear one thing I say, stop looking for the gimmick. The gimmick it's not real. Quit listening to people that won't put you on stages in front of them. Don't call them mentors. Don't call them mentors. You're hired help to help build stages for them. Your hired help is true. This is what it is. Man, there's my clients. I had a woman call me and say, what can you get me? Can you get me to actually meet with the first lady and talk and speak at a conference? I said, have you spoken to a mayor yet? She goes, no. Have you spoken to a city? Have you spoken to a school board member? Have you spoken to the janitorial staff? You think you can buy me to get you in? If you don't have the goods, if God can't get you there, I can't. I take clients, Dr. West, whose hearts want to go far. Mm-hmm. And when they start, we craft stuff out. And by the time we get to Biolog, Dr. West, mm-hmm. as a masterpiece, Biolog is a new communication technology that every institution in the world will need now. You want to know why? They're calling me saying, Doc, man, we can't we can't dialogue. Why? Have you tried peace and reconciliation? Yes.
Yeah.
have you tried Biolog? What is that? I'll have to bring Dr. West and he can tell you how to do this. And hear this, people. You have to learn verbal engineering. Every social change in the world is verbally engineered. This is knowledge I have from the top. Guys, I work with 15 presidents. I work with the poor nations, the wealthy nations. I was the co-chair of the Congressional Prayer Conference on Capitol Hill. I know how America works. I'm a rep to OPAD, a voice to the UN. As a matter of fact, this morning I spoke to the actual public servants of Nigeria. I was up at 6 a.m. speaking to them in the whole country. People, one thing I understand is how the world works. Let me tell you, people, listen to me, man. There's open doors at the top. Why? Because the top blew off.
Oh, come on. They blew the lid off.
They blew the lid off. Coronavirus has blown the lid off. So everyone is looking for help, but they don't know how to verbally engineer. They guys, please get anything you have that has transformation and throw it away. Transformation is a tired word that when people hear it, it means nothing because they've heard it done and no one has been transformed. So guess what? When you put transformation, they go, oh, great, thank you. What does it mean? Nothing's going to change.
Listen, hey, you guys, I told you about this guest. I told you, do me a favor. I'm going to give you one more chance. Do me a favor. Go share this interview and put on the interview when you share it. Don't just share it with no words. Share it and say, must listen. You must listen. You're not sharing it for me. You're not sharing it for Dr. Rivers. He's already meeting with the presidents, and you just heard him say he's going to meet with leaders and law enforcement agencies and all that stuff. And you also heard him say he's already invited me. So you're not doing it for us. You're not doing it for us. You're doing it for the people that need the information. Now, here's what I told a friend this today, Doc, and I want you to hear this, and I want you to use it, because you speak to a lot of people. But this person took the time to speak up to somebody. And they said, I had to do it. It was necessary. I didn't necessarily want to do it, but I had to do it. I felt like it was the right thing to do. And I said, you just met your next level of qualification. And they said, what? I said, see, when God gives you an assignment, he's going to test you with the assignment. And so you have no idea who he ultimately wants you to speak to. But if you can't go speak to this person right here, when he gives you the assignment, he's not going to give you a larger assignment. You got to pass that assignment. See, God sometimes tells us, hey, see that person right there, give them some money. And then we look at him and we want to give him some money. And then we look and we're like, man, I don't have any ones. If I had a couple of ones, I would give it to him, but I don't have any ones. So you just walk past the assignment. And God says, well, you have no idea what I had in store for you. I had thousands in store for you, but you were looking for a one. And since you couldn't find 2 ones, you didn't give the person the 5. And what that lets me know is you're not ready. And so sometimes we take ourselves out of position because we don't value the small assignment. And all I want to let you know about Ambassador Dr. Clyde Rivers is he always valued the small assignment. And as a matter of fact, he never even looked at it as a small assignment. I told you when we went to these countries, every single person, large or small, president or not, king or not, vice president or not, he still shook their hand. He still smiled. I seen him change this guy's life in Guyana. We're standing in the middle of a field. It's dark. He's talking about getting some soccer balls. And Dr. Rivers was listening to him. And he said, I want to just get these soccer balls and help with the kids. And Dr. Rivers did this. He said, I got something for you. And he took the pin off of his jacket and pinned it on this young man in the field in Guyana. And his smile was so big, you could see his molars. You could see where his wisdom teeth were supposed to be. I mean, this dude is lit on fire. And one of the things I know is that he found a way to get those soccer balls. He empowered him so much. And so I just want to take the time to say, Dr. Rivers, thank you for being a guest on my show. In just a minute, I'm going to give you final thoughts. I just want to say to the listeners one more time, just do me a favor. Give Dr. Rivers some virtual applause in this feed because he certainly brought the heat. You can use hand claps or you can use flames, but either way, put him in the feed because he certainly brought the heat. And Dr. Rivers, what I'd like to do is just take the time to say thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your mentorship. Thank you for your obedience to your assignment. And I'd like to just give you the opportunity for any last words you want to share with this audience.
Thank you so much, Dr. West. It's man, just humbled to be with you. And Dr. West, by the way, you're someone I can send alone to countries to meet presidents. And that by yourself. I'm not going to do that. I don't have time for that now. I got other stuff. People, please listen carefully. Your training doesn't have to look like your assignment.
Come on.
Your faithful over little doesn't have to look like your rulership. So you may be doing something right now that seems menial, but it may be your door to the presidency.
Come on.
You're doing something now that seems so menial and small. It's nothing. And God's saying, your next door is leadership of a nation. Let me tell you this in closing. One day I'm in a meeting, Dr. West, and I'm sitting and everyone is looking at me, and the Holy Spirit said, he said, you just took over your rulership. Tell them what to do. I didn't know when I went from a steward to a ruler. God told me in the meeting. I was so used to being a steward, I didn't understand what it was to be a ruler. So God had to identify, they're waiting for you, leader. Your rulership assignment came. God bless every one of you. You will see the most phenomenal days will take place for you.
You heard it there. It's Dr. Ruben West on Voices of Change, where we had Dr. Clyde Rivers giving us his insight on global leadership and how we can make it to the top. Do me a favor, share this video and join me next week on Voices of Change, we will have another life-changing guest on this show. It's Dr. Ruben West. I'm out. Thank you, everyone.